The space race was a 20th-century competition between two Cold War rivals, the Soviet Union (USSR) and the United States (US), for supremacy in spaceflight capability. The space race was one of the most historic events of the 20th century and played a significant role in the outcome of the Cold War. However, few people are aware of the facts surrounding this unique event in humankind's history, and their knowledge mostly revolves around the first man on the moon and the subsequent moon landing conspiracy theories. On October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union became the country that officially started the so-called space race by launching the Sputnik 1, the first Earth satellite in history. A month after the USSR sent Sputnik 1 into space, they sent Sputnik 2, which was the first spacecraft to carry an animal, a dog named Laika, and so the country made history again by becoming the first to successfully send a living organism into orbit. However, something that many people don't know about this dog is that despite the Soviets initially claiming that Laika had survived in orbit for a week, decades later official Russian sources revealed that Laika lived only a few hours before dying from overheating. On January 31, 1958, the USA officially entered the space race by launching Explorer 1, the first American satellite to reach orbit. On October 1, 1958, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration (NASA) was formed and replaced the National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics (NACA). In 1960, and while the Soviets were leading the space race, in an attempt to become more competitive, NASA launched Saros-1, the first successful weather satellite. On April 12, 1961, the USSR took a clear lead and gained the admiration of the whole world by sending the first man into space. He was also the first to orbit the Earth. His name was Yuri Gagarin, and he is considered the world's most famous astronaut to this day. In 1965, Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov spent 12 minutes outside the Voskhod spacecraft. In doing so, he performed the first spacewalk in history. The year 1967 was the most deadly of the space race for both sides. In January, American astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed Dwight, and Roger Chaffee were killed when a fire ignited in their Apollo 1 capsule while performing a test on the launch pad. A few months later, the Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov was killed when the parachutes of his Soyuz 1 capsule failed to open properly following re-entry. In the same year, two more American astronauts, Edward Givens and Clifton Williams, were killed in an automobile accident and a plane crash, respectively. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and later Edwin Buzz Aldrin on board Apollo 11 became the first men to walk on the moon, while crewmate Michael Collins orbited the moon alone. After years of Soviet space dominance, the USA took the lead and made history by putting the first man on the moon. After the successful moon landing, there were many more landing and many more to come, and there is now talk of Mars.